All right, this is the Painesville Township Board of Zoning Appeals. We're going to call this meeting to order right now. On our agenda, we normally, when we're doing it in person, we like to do the Pledge of Allegiance, but we will forego that since we're in this mode right now. So Rachel, if you could do the roll call for the board members, please.
Okay. Dave Benzera.
Here.
Ken Sullivan.
Here.
Dave Lindrose.
Here.
Randy Van Buren.
Here.
And Chairman.
Here. Okay, Jeremy, at this time, I'm not sure we have everybody in the audience yet that is on the agenda, but if you would go ahead and explain to the ones that are here why you need to swear them in and go ahead and do so.
Okay, I will do that, and if we need to do it again when we get to the hearings, when the people show up, we can do that too. Okay, everybody, I'm Jeremy Iosu. I'm the legal advisor for Painesville Township. So every person that wishes to speak in favor or against any of the issues today must take an oath that they will tell the truth and nothing but the truth. The reason for that is because this is a semi-judicial proceeding, and any decision that is made here can be appealed to common pleas court. For that reason, we have to have a true and accurate record of everything that occurs today, and that record will be created today in the meeting minutes and approved at the next meeting. And the judge would rely on that record and that record alone for the appeal. So for that reason, everybody has to be sworn in who's going to testify for or against. Ask anybody who's going to be testifying for or against any of the zoning cases that are before us this evening to first raise your right hand. And I'm going to ask you a question and you will answer for me in the affirmative. Everybody who wishes to speak during any or all of the hearings today, stand and raise your right hand and answer this question. Do you swear or affirm that the statements that you're going to give tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Chairman.
For the record, can we let Rachel know who those people are that just said I do? Rich, you were one of them, right?
I'll start this off as the zoning inspector, Richard Constantine. I said I do.
Okay. I'm just trying to
I do.
Okay.
Terry Medvick, I do.
Bruce Royals, I do.
Kenny Kropak, say I do.
Is he there?
Somebody's muted, I think.
Ken, you have to unmute your microphone, Ken. Sean, explain that to him.
As a reminder to unmute yourself, if you are on the computer, move your mouse around on the screen. A white bar is going to pop up at the bottom where you can then tap the red microphone button to the left of the end call. If you're on mobile, tap your screen one time. Those buttons will appear again at the bottom. Left of the end call is mute. All right, sir, we still see that you're not being heard, but that you are being attempting to talk. One more time, tap your screen. It looks like you're on a phone. You'll see the buttons pop up at the bottom. Left side of end call will be the microphone button. Tap that, and then you'll be able to be heard.
Is that Ken Kropak?
Okay, I think I got it working.
Okay, I'm hearing you, sir.
That was a different person.
Okay.
I think that was Ellen Manning.
Yep.
For the sake of being able to make sure everyone can participate, I have gone ahead in the chat and posted the dial-in option as well. You can call in with a regular phone number, and then that way you will definitely be heard.
All right, so Pasenic is not here, is that correct? We're not hearing it from the Pasenic family? Is there anyone here from 970 Riverside Drive?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, have you been sworn? Did you swear in?
I don't think
I
so.
do?
I do.
Said I
Okay,
do.
Jeremy, I see Alan Manning has showed up. How about swearing in the fellow from 970 Riverside Drive and Alan Manning? Let's get
Okay,
those.
I'll do that. Just to review, and I think Alan, you came in later, and Alan, unmute yourself so you can say I do. So for every person who's wishing to speak today, we have to swear you in. It's because any decision that's made tonight can be appealed to the Court of Appeals. The record that is taken tonight will be used for that appeal, and that will be all that will be used for the appeal. So everyone that is going to speak for or against anything needs to be sworn in. And for those of you who have already said I do, you don't have to do it again. But for everybody else, I'll need you to say I do to this question. Do you swear, and raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that the statements you're about to give are the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I
And
do.
could you take your name too?
Okay, so Alan Manning and 970 Riverside Drive are sworn. We'll leave it up to the board here. Case BZA 620 BZA 16. We can bypass this and see if someone shows up there and skip to the next case, or we can just go ahead and do something on this. What's the feeling of the board here? How would you like to do that?
And Mr. Chairman, Tom, I'm saying maybe we just hold off on this for the time being and come back later.
Okay, I agree. Some people may have a tough time signing in here.
Right.
We've done it a number of times. All right, Rachel, let's jump to case 20 BZA 17. There is a representative here. If you would read that, please.
Okay. Applicant JFR Management LTD filed a variance application for property located at 970 Riverside Drive. The request is to allow placement of a 20 by 12 foot storage shed at a separation distance of 10 feet from the main building in violation of section 22.02E and table 22.04, which require a 20-foot minimum separation.
Okay, with the current zoning resolution, I find no error in our zoning inspector requiring a variance. So if someone is there would like to explain what you'd like to do or what you did.
Yeah, I needed a space to put.
If you could give your name for the record, just.
Oh, sure.
for our
John Roberto. I put up a shed to store pizza boxes and to-go boxes and items that we need in the restaurant frequently. But we needed it kind of close to the door so we can get it quick without running through rain and snow and mud. So we were requesting 10 foot because it's closer to the door, easier for us to access.
Okay. Anyone else to speak in favor? Anyone to speak against? Any questions from the board? I think the board knows it's already there, if you stopped out there.
Yep.
Had a concrete pad poured, it actually looks very nice. Rich, quick question. Isn't this one of the things that's is in the process of being changed in the resolution right now? To 10 feet?
Well, no.
No? Thought it
no.
was being considered.
But this project has gone through site plan review, architectural review by the zoning commission. The only problem with the placement of the shed is that it does not provide the 20-foot building separation. So
Yeah.
that's what we need from the Board of Zoning Appeals in order to make this storage facility more convenient and business enhancing for the applicant.
Okay. All right. With no other questions from the board, would someone like to make a motion, please?
I'll make the motion to approve the variance case number 20 BZA 17.
I'll second it.
Rachel,
seconded?
who seconded it?
Who seconded it?
I seconded it.
Ken Sullivan?
Okay.
Yes. Okay, Rachel, if you'll call, the motion's been made and seconded. Rachel, if you'll call the roll, please.
Okay. Dave Lindrose,
Yes.
Ken Sullivan,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
Dave and Zara,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Yes.
Okay.
It's already been done, to save some time, you know what the next step may be. You might want to make a motion to journalize this decision. Someone want to make a motion to journalize the decision?
I'll make a motion to journalize 20 BZA 17.
Okay.
I'll second that.
I'll
Ken.
second.
Okay. Ken,
Yes.
Yes.
Dave and Zara,
Yes.
Dave Lindrose,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Yes. Okay, so you're all set, sir.
Thank you
You
very
can
much.
leave the meeting, or you can stay and have the fun like we're going to have here shortly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Has anybody from the Kropak family showed up at the meeting yet?
Yes, I'm here.
This is Ken?
This is me, Ken Kropak.
Okay. So, let's go ahead and read this case 20 BZA 18 if we could.
Okay.
Okay. Applicants Kenneth A. and Sharon M. Kropak filed a variance application for property located at 129 Everett Road. The request is to allow construction of a 12 by 24 storage shed in violation of the maximum square footage for accessory buildings of 1,280 square feet as established by variance granted on August 12, 2014. Case 14-BZA-15, the proposed shed exceeds that maximum by 268 square feet.
Okay, again, I find no error in our zoning inspectors requiring a variance for this. Mr. Kropak, would you like to tell us what you have in mind?
Just, I need more room. I have a lot of stuff.
Sir, Sean with IT here. I'm terribly sorry to interrupt the meeting. If we're on speakerphone, could you possibly remove us from speakerphone? Your phone is feedbacking through the meeting quite notably, and it's causing an issue understanding you.
I think it's feeding back from the computer. He's on the computer too. He's on two different
Yeah.
spots.
Yeah.
Then if that's the case,
my phone to shut up there.
yeah,
I got
give
it
a larger
it
separation
off.
between devices.
Right.
Thank you so much. Apologies for interrupting.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to go ahead again? Mr. Kropak,
Yeah.
would you like to go ahead and explain what you have in mind?
It's not a permanent structure. It's a shed.
And you need it for?
I have a lot of memorabilia.
Okay.
Right.
When you say it's not a permanent structure, it's a shed, what do you mean?
Well, it's no footer or nothing. Just putting it on the stone, on block.
Okay.
And it's already built. They're just putting it in, just sliding it in.
Did you know that you needed a variance to put that in there?
Yeah, I paid for the variance.
Paid for the application, I believe. So back in 2014, that's when we granted, is that the garage that's out there now, the separate building?
Yes.
Okay, and what's in that garage right now?
What's in my garage right now? My vehicles.
Yeah.
My vehicles.
All right, anyone else to speak in favor? Anyone to speak against the request? How about the board members? Any questions? So this is in excess by 268 square feet. Is that correct, Rich?
Yes,
And your neighboring properties behind you is Hellriggle's, pretty much their parking lot back there, Mr.
Their
Kropak?
baseball field. Their baseball field where they practice baseball in the field.
Yeah, and to your east is the ball field, which I think the township has just taken over, and it's going to stay a park. Is that correct?
Yes, recreation. Yes.
Okay. No other questions from the board? Would someone like to make a motion, please?
Yeah, this is Ken. I'll make a motion to grant the variance as requested in 20 BZA-18.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. Rachel, if you'll call the roll.
Okay, Ken,
Yes.
Dave Lindrose,
Yes.
Dave Anzera,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
Chairman.
Yes. Okay, so again, it's there. We might as well make a motion to journalize it.
All right, it's Ken again. I'll make a motion to journalize 20 BZA-18.
And I will second.
state your name when you second, please.
That was Randy. The second.
Okay, Dave Anzera,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Yes.
Dave Lindrose,
Yes.
Randy,
Yes.
and Chairman.
Yes. Okay. All right, Rachel, if you would now read BZA case number 20, BZA 19.
Okay, applicant Alan T. Manning filed a variance application for property located at 146 Fruitland Avenue. The request is to allow an existing gravel driveway to remain in place for a period not to exceed 2 years in violation of section 29.06A, which requires hard surface paving on driveways in order to enable the property owner the opportunity to accumulate the funds necessary to pave the driveway.
Okay, I see no error in our zoning inspector requiring a variance for this. Kind of an unusual request, but it's one that I think is appropriate. All right, someone to speak in favor of the request. Please identify yourself before you speak.
Yeah, this is Alan Manning.
Okay.
Yeah, and the reason I'm requesting the additional time is to be able to actually put in a cement driveway versus an asphalt driveway, because I think doing that is going to increase the property value more, and it's also going to give a better look and a longer lasting driveway versus asphalt. It is going to be more pricey. That's also why I would need 2 years to do it versus the 1 year.
Okay. Now, you know that when you do this, there's been some discrepancy between you and the neighbors as to where your property lines and that are. I would, it's not the duty of this board to make sure that that is done in the correct place on the plot. It just, this board is just required to give them the variance to do that, give them up to 2 years, put in the correct kind of driveway. And I think we remember this from the last meeting. The funds were much more than he expected they would be, so we're just trying to work with somebody here. So is there anyone else to speak in favor of the request?
No, but I would like to add one more thing as well, if I can.
Sure.
The other part of this was too, is before I do the driveway and it does go in, I am going to have the property surveyed to make sure that the driveway is going in the proper place. That's another reason why I need extra time to secure the funds, because I am going to have it surveyed. I'm going to make sure that it goes right directly on my property versus anything on the Medbeck property. So that is something else I'm going to also make sure that's taken care of before the driveway is installed.
Highly recommended that you do that. Okay. All right. Thank you. Anyone else to speak in favor? Anyone to speak against the request?
My name is Bruce Broyles. I'm the attorney for Medbeck Properties. I would speak against it. Just to make certain that there are no issues regarding standing We are the adjoining property owners. They're here represented by counsel. And on the record, we would provide our intent to file an appeal should the application be accepted. Initially, I would provide you with several citations. Columbus Bituminous Concrete versus Harrison Township. That's 2020-Ohio-845. Hisney versus Boardman Township, 2017, Ohio 1212. And one from the 11th district that would be kind of controlling in over Painesville Township, Burlington Coat Factory versus Howland Township Board of Zoning, 2019, Ohio 2173. And essentially those three cases talk about the zoning authority of townships are a creature of statute. Townships essentially says are creatures of the law and have only such authority as is conferred on them by laws. There is absolutely nothing in the Ohio Revised Code, Chapter 519, allowing a variance for a limited period of time. There is absolutely nothing in the zoning regulations or resolutions of the Painesville Township that would allow a violation to exist for a certain period of time. In addition, I believe that this request kind of violates the spirit of the zoning resolution, given the fact that the area variance had been denied in a previous application. It's still, I am assuming that it's an area variance. And so again, you would have to look at the Duncan requirements. And all three of those cases go back to the Duncan requirements, as well as that being repeatedly discussed at the last Board of Zoning meetings. Here, Mr. Manning failed to meet those in his last zoning request. Again, he essentially bought the property with knowledge of this issue, had an opportunity to purchase the property from the Medvecs as a prior to the foreclosure, in which the property would have been sold as along with the adjoining property. Even Mr. Manning mentioned that the current location of the gravel may not be where it's on his property, and certainly doesn't comply with any setback or side yards. The Duncan requirements also require whether or not it could be obviated by some other method other than a variance. And MedDeck Properties has talked to both Mr. Manning, and I believe the property owner on the other side is a Mr. Heston, where they would do a land installment contract that would allow Mr. Manning to have what I believe would be a pre-existing non-conforming driveway, and in fact it may be conforming. It's just an asphalt driveway that's somewhat lost the steady appeal, but would probably be sufficient to comply or be a non-conforming existing use. And for those reasons, we would just ask that the board deny this kind of inventive area variance as to a limited period of time. I just don't think you have the authority to do that. Thank you.
Jeremy?
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
any answers to that?
Certainly those are all basically based on the Duncan rules, Duncan versus Middlefield, that you guys are all fairly aware of.
I've got those in front of me now. Yeah.
So those would be certainly something, whether you approve it or deny it today, that could be argued on appeal. Those cases would be something that would be placed into a brief and an argument on an appeal. I think probably the bigger question is the ownership of that property. You obviously can't get a variance for property that you don't own, but I don't know who owns the other portion of the property, because that person would also be in violation.
I guess my big question on everything that Mr. Broyles went through is, does this board, and Rich, you may know too, can this board put a time on a variance? I know we can do it on a conditional use permit. Do we have the authority to do what he's asking to do? I'm assuming we do, since it came up for us to consider.
This is the zoning inspector speaking. A couple things come to mind. Number one, on the question of the ability of the Board of Zoning Appeals to place conditions on a variance, I believe that state law allows that. I believe that court cases exist somewhere out there to demonstrate that. The main point I want to make is, since the last hearing, I came upon a survey, a drawing, a proposed lot split, which was submitted in 2003 by the MedVet, which actually proposed this particular lot split with the unusual configuration of the lot line, with full knowledge of where the house was at 146 Fruitland relative to all the lot lines that existed at the time. They were proposing, as a part of their lot split, to build another single family home on the lot which was number 47 next door to the south of the existing 146 Fruitland. And that particular drawing proposed the relocation of a existing gravel driveway to be completely on the property of the 146 Fruitland parcel number. Now, I'm not even sure that that was legal at the time, because in 1999, Painesville Township required all driveways, which were newly constructed, to be asphalt or concrete. So to propose in 2003 to relocate a pre-existing gravel driveway onto a different parcel than from which it was originally constructed makes no sense to me. I'm not sure how you view that legally, but I would suggest that Painesville Township could defend itself against any assault you want to make upon it if we grant this variance with a condition that it only lasts 2 years.
Okay, thank you for that, Rich. The one, I've got the Duncan versus Middlefield is one thing to consider when we're looking at this, and what Mr. Broyles brought up was that there is an alternative to a variance, but the alternative would require a considerable amount of money out front from Mr. Manning, and I think that's why we kind of were looking at this in the first place, give him some time to accumulate some money to do what the zoning resolution calls for, and that be a asphalt or concrete driveway. So I'm not sure what the thing other than a variance, what is the outcome, or what could he possibly do here? Mr. Broyles, you mentioned that.
Well, if I might, there's been several offers suggested that he could simply purchase the adjoining property for less than I think what the or at least a portion of the adjoining property for less than the $20,000 of the concrete driveway. Mr. Constantine's comments, I think, while we're not asking anybody to defend, I'm simply, the point I was making is that this is the identical variance that was previously denied, with the exception that he would correct it within a 2-year period of time. And I believe that if that isn't some kind of race judicata, it's certainly not within your ability under the zoning regulations to provide a limited variance for any period of time.
So we can't help a citizen of the township. Is that what you're saying?
Oh,
okay.
I think.
Anyone else to speak against the request? Any questions or comments from the board? I know there's been some letters sent out that have offered Mr. Manning offering to purchase the property next door to him. I don't think he had ever had any intention of doing that in the first place. He bought a piece of property with a home on it. He wants to live on that property. He wants to put in a driveway. He has agreed to have this property surveyed, put it where it needs to be. And what he's asking our board for is some time so he can gather the funds to do it correctly. In my view, I think that's a fair and honest request. That's just my opinion. So if there's anyone else to speak for or against, I would say yes.
I do have a question, Mr. Chairman. With respect to this particular variance that we would be voting on tonight, as I see it, we're not voting on an area variance tonight, as was indicated earlier. This is not an area variance. It's simply an extension of time to create a driveway.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I would add, this is Dave Inzer, with the intention of complying with the regulation. We're just talking about providing a buffer, a period of time, so that the applicant can comply with the zoning. I do have a question for Mr. Manning. Can you walk us through your thoughts? You request 2 years in order to be able to do this. Can you just share a little bit more of your thinking there? Why did you use 2 years instead of 1 year or 6 months? Just help us understand that.
Yeah, this is Alan Manning. I'll be honest with you. I am employed by the U.S. Postal Service, and I have a family that I have to provide for too. I'm only a 4-year carrier. 4-year carriers make on average of about $45,000 a year working for the U.S. Postal Service, and I'm not sure if you're aware of that. I am not a very rich man, and I spent the majority of my money buying this house and making it livable to move into. And even though prior knowledge has said otherwise, I wasn't fully aware of the fact that the driveway needed to be paved or asphalted. I knew there was a driveway issue. I was never fully aware, and even the paper that was presented by Mr. Medvec did not state that it needed to be concrete or asphalt. It just said that there was a driveway issue and it might need to be resolved and it would need to be taken care of. Nowhere on that paper or anything that I signed did it say that it needed to be concrete or asphalt, and I was not aware of that, and it was an oversight on my part because of that. I should have looked into it. Me being a new homeowner and having a family, there was oversight, and it's my fault, and I do apologize for that, and that's why I'm seeking the extra time, because I'm a family man. I have a 10-year-old son. I don't make a lot of money. I work a lot of overtime to try to provide for my family, and the only aspect of being able to come up with that money right now would be able to rob from my 401k to pay for this driveway, and I'm seeking alternative routes to do that, so that way I don't have to take from my retirement to try to do this. That's the honest reason why I'm seeking more time. I'm not rich. I do not have a lot of money in the bank, and if I was, I would not have bought this house. I would have bought a house that didn't need renovated I bought a house for $85,000. It's not a lot of money. I don't have a lot of money, and that's why I'm seeking the extra time.
Thank you.
I just don't, this is Fabian Medvick. I oppose the grant of this variance on several reasons. I mean, number one, how could you possibly grant a time variance on property that you don't own? I pay taxes on that property. I have paid taxes on that property. And now you're
not
just
paying taxes on that property now.
Hey, don't interrupt me. All right. And
We
you
can
know,
end, we can
you
end you,
just
Mr.
summarily dismiss.
Mr. Medvick, I'm the chairman. I can end you right whenever I want to, just so you know.
Well, you know, and now you're going to summarily dismiss me as a taxpayer for paying taxes on this property the whole time, and you're just going to grant someone a variance. He knew darn well when he purchased that property for $85,000. He signed the agreement, clear as a bell, that there is an issue with the driveway, and this is just a sham. I mean, we already went through this last 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. You're just trying to give a time continuance. I disagree with this time continuance. There's no valid reason.
This is Medvick from Medvick Properties. I would like to speak, please. I've been a realtor in Lake County here since 1996. I've sold a lot of real estate property. We bought that property in 2002. We put all the money into it, split it. We had bad tenants. We had bad times, bad things happened. We lost the property. Still, regardless, he got a really good deal on that property for $84,000. What's amazing to me with all his hardships that I've been hearing about for these last 2 meetings is that I graciously offered him a land contract deal. For 3 years, I'm trying to get him to negotiate. I went to the neighbor next door. They don't want a house going in the middle there. We've already got a soil test done. We're already getting the approval from the septic guy with the county to put a spec home in there. I'm just trying to be gracious because of his hardship. And I realized he was told, I know both his agents. Do you know that every person, before they put an offer on that property, called me up because they've known me from years, because I'm from Perry and Madison, we're local people, and they would never put an offer in on that house because they knew of the driveway situation. They said there was no shared driveway, no easement. I was always gracious and told everybody, come to me, make an offer, we can negotiate. He never came to make an offer from me. And I'm at Keller Williams. I've been with Keller Williams in Mentor for over 7 years now. So I'm just astonished that with all this hardship that he wouldn't come to me, give me $3 grand or $5 grand down, and I could hold a note for 3 or 5 years and help him out until he got through this. But that's never been talked about, or the letter, the email I sent him.
Ma'am, and again, I appreciate your concern, but this board is not looking at a potential deal between you and the applicant. We're looking at the request from the applicant. He owns the property. He's asking for a variance. That's what we have to address.
But you're also addressing his
Excuse me. If you can work out a deal with him on the side,
but Mr. Hill,
that's up to you and Mr. Manning.
I own that property, Mr. Chairman. Chairman, sir, I've owned that property since 2002. Whether I split it off or not or what happened, I've been respectfully paying taxes in this community and county for years. So it's helping everybody out, not just one person. So I feel like I'm getting slighted on this because I own more than 50% of that. Do you know what I had to go through talking to your zoning inspector, Mr. Constantine, when I had to prove, I had to pay 3 times. And now I might go in a civil lawsuit against Mr. Manning because I can't find my pins put in there and that gravel that was put down illegally. And no one's respectful for me on how I'm going to sell that lot and who's going to buy that. What kind of problems am I going to run into? Who's thinking about my family?
Okay. Your concerns are noted. Again, Rich, we are considering the variance as it is. As far as I know, Mr. Manning owns this piece of property. Is that correct?
That is my understanding.
Okay, he owns it. He's paying taxes on it now, so we're looking at his request. Jeremy, is that a fair statement?
That is a fair statement, and yes, you are able to grant a variance with a condition, even if that condition is a time limit.
Okay. All right, any other questions from the board? Someone like to make a motion, please?
I'll make the motion to approve the variance for the 2-year time limit for 20 BZA 19.
Okay, motion's been made.
I'll second. This is Dave.
Okay. Rachel, motion's been made and seconded. If you would call the roll, please.
Okay, Ken?
Yes.
Okay, Randy?
Yes.
Dave Anzera?
Yes.
Dave Lindrose?
Yes.
And Chairman?
Yes. Okay, and I don't know if this needs to be journalized. It's going to take him a while to get going on this, unless Mr. Manning would like it. So, Mr. Manning, if we do not journalize this decision, it'll become official when the minutes of the next meeting are signed, if that's okay with you.
Yes, sir. That is perfectly fine with me.
Okay. All right. Now, let's look back at case 20 BVA 16. Is there anyone here from the Pasenik family for the case on 520 Carson Avenue? Okay, board, we have the, I had a couple of questions on this. We have the, we can go ahead and read it, approve it or disapprove it, or vote to continue it. I don't know what the pleasure of the board is on this one.
Thomas is Dave, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I had some questions too. I drove up to the property, looked at it, trying to visualize where the fence was going to be placed, and
Same with me. I didn't know if it was coming out to that trampoline or past the trampoline.
Yeah.
Same issue.
So I would recommend that we make a motion to continue this hearing then.
All right, this is Ken. I'll make a motion to continue 20 BZA 16.
This is Randy. I will second that.
Rachel?
Sorry.
Motion's been made, seconded.
Okay. Dave and Zara?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Dave Lindros?
Yes.
Randy?
Yeah.
And Chairman?
Yes. Okay, so you'll let them know, Rich, that we would like to see them at the next meeting?
Yes.
Another yes. Okay. All right, with that closes the public hearing. Is there any, with that, we'll open the regular meeting. The acknowledgement of the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes?
Yes.
I have, yes.
Okay, Rachel, I know you're new.
Yes.
And I think you're putting, they're excellent minutes, but you may be putting too much work in there. We're looking for
I figured.
we don't need, we don't need all this detail, but I mean,
Okay.
these are excellent minutes. So, if you want to keep doing that, it's okay, but I'm just trying to lighten your load a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
Kind of do the light version of it.
Okay.
Does anyone find any problem with the minutes that they see as submitted?
I did not.
I haven't seen it.
No problem.
Okay, Jeremy, you want us to actually vote on this, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so I would someone make a motion to accept the minutes as submitted.
I'll make the motion to accept the minutes as submitted.
I'll second that. This is Randy.
Okay, Rachel, if you'll call the roll.
Okay. Ken?
Yes.
Dave and Zara?
Yes.
Dave Lindros?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
And Chairman?
Yes. Rachel, now I have a copy with a little tab. You just need me to sign these and bring them back to the office then?
That's what I'm guessing needs to be done.
Okay, I'll just sign this copy that I have and bring it back to the office then.
Okay.
Okay. So, any new business or any old business we're looking at, Rich?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I just have Rich, I have a question. This is Dave. On my agenda for old business, there's a
Oh
book.
yeah, Yvonne Lacqua, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the place out on.
Yeah. She has requested a copy of the minutes and a written statement of why her variance request was denied.
We can provide her a copy of the minutes, I believe, but I don't think we're required to have to provide any reason why it was denied, are we, Jeremy?
No, you don't have to put anything in writing. The minutes are the record, and that's all there is.
Okay. So she's welcome to come and get a copy of the minutes?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep, now they're public record, so.
Okay. All right, new business, done. The next meeting is September 8th.
Well, we have the continued case, and we have one more case that's already on the book. So there will be 2 public hearings on September 8th.
Okay.
And I have,
Hi, Harley.
hello, everyone. I have
Hello.
one right now that's pretty simple, and then I may have an additional one depending on when the sign company gets it to me for the signage at Tractor Supply.
Okay. Is that where they're starting to dig the hole out in front in the parking lot there? I noticed they're breaking up asphalt or something.
Yeah, Pacatans, the old Pacatans.
Yeah, the old Pacatan.
Yeah, they're putting an enclosure, the gated enclosure for their outdoor storage.
Okay, good. So they are proceeding with this then.
Yes.
Okay, anybody know if they will not be here September 8th? Because I know our alternate is very afraid of having to do this online, so he's glad if we have all our people here. All right. I want to thank everybody. We'll call this meeting adjourned at 7:18. Thank you, board members. Thank you, legal advice, Harley, Rich, Rachel, and thank you very much for jumping in here. Sometime we're going to get to meet you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
we'll see you all in September. See you in, that's a song, isn't it?
Good evening, guys.
Good night, everybody.
All right, guys.
Hi,
All
everyone.
right, everyone. Thank you.
Night.
Bye, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.